Oh my goodness. Welcome to
Yeah,
Lab.
Friday.
Hi, Kimber. My name is
Hello.
Joe McHugh, taking over introduction for our good friend Evan, who is having a no bones day. For those of you who know what that is, I applaud you. For those of you who don't, get on TikTok. You will learn what a no bones day is. I am here. My name is Joe McHugh from Connecticut, and I am here with my co-host today, Kimber Walton. Kimber, how are you?
I am great. Kimber Walton from Salt Lake City, Utah.
Yes.
And I requested to co-host this episode because I am a marketer as well. And I think what Jannel does is so impressive and so awesome. And she needs to be on a stage. So that is why I am like, please let me come and ask her questions.
I love that. So, and we do have Jannel the tech here, Jannel Gonzalez. Introduce yourself. Where are you from? What do you do? And why should we listen to you?
My name is Jannel Gonzalez, and I go by Jannel the Tech. That's what I brand myself as.
Cool.
And I'm at San Antonio City View, and our market center has about 900 agents, and we are continuing to grow. And I do all of our marketing, and I am the director of innovation and technology over here.
Cool. And we all love shortcuts and making our lives easier. And I think that's a little bit about what you're going to talk with us today. Now, just for everybody who's out there, I will be watching for Facebook comments on my phone. So if I look down like this, I am not ignoring Jannel. I actually got some feedback like, Joe, like you look so disinterested. And no, I am actually looking for comments on my phone. So that is what is going on there. So with that in mind, Jannel, let's get started. I know you have some slides. I know you have some topics. So I don't know where you want to start, but take it away.
All right. Is this good? Can you all see my screen?
In a second. Yeah, there we go. Here we go.
There we go. Okay. We just went over who I am, but if you want my information, you can scan that QR code. And if you're not familiar with QR codes, we are going to go over those today. So I'm really excited about that.
And I'm actually going to take us away so nobody can see us right now. Whoa. We entered the matrix. There we go. Yeah, so I just want people to be able to see this screen the fullest, and I will bring us back if need be. But yeah, let's go.
All right. So today we are going to talk about creating a brand strategy, how to apply in designs, KW command designs, and how to understand and pivot from there. So I don't know if you have heard of the pain versus pleasure principle, but that it goes from Sigmund and Freud. Sorry, I always mess that up. But it talks about how people will go into great lengths just to avoid pain rather than seeking pleasure. So one of the most common mistakes in marketing is we think about what our customers are going to want, what are they going to want, and what they're going to need, instead of actually just asking our clients, what do you want and what do you need, and what are their biggest pain points. So going on to that, there is a wonderful book called Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller. And I think it's a really good book if you're trying to build your brand, and if you're just starting, or even if you have a brand already and it's just not doing so well, or you're looking just to grow it. There's always things that you can learn. But the 7 stages, the 7 principles that he talks about is the customer's the hero, not your brand. So a lot of the times we're like, hey, look at the stuff that I'm doing. But in reality, what gets you the most exposure is when you're actually exposed, or when you're putting the spotlight onto your clients. So I think that's really important. And instead of selling external solutions to problems, think about internal solutions. So what inside a person is going to make them want to use you as a realtor, or things like that. They're looking for a guide. They're looking for someone very knowledgeable. So how do you make yourself look like the expert so that they can go to you? What plans can you share with them that will help you look like the local expert and them to trust you, right?
That's so interesting. And it's so interesting that you bring up Sigmund Freud and that emotional piece. And here, let's actually pull us back for this, so people see who they're talking to. Because whenever I list a property and people want to overprice it, I always say, well, what emotion are the buyers going to feel if they go into the negotiation and you're overpriced, right? And inevitably the answer comes back to, and I have to lead them there, is it's a fear of being taken advantage of. And if somebody has the fear of being taken advantage of, is that going to be a good transaction or a bad transaction? And ultimately the answer is a bad transaction. Versus, like, let's say you price it right, and there's a bidding war. What's the fear that they have then? And the fear is that it's of losing out on this great deal. And if that's the fear they have, is that a good transaction or a bad transaction? And it's a good transaction, right? So it's so interesting that we can use these emotions and kind of get the idea of, like, what is the fear driving those people, and then place them in that story. Like, I love that. I absolutely love that. That's great. Sorry. I don't know if that derailed it or added to it.
No, that definitely adds to it.
Yeah.
It definitely adds to it, because just coming from that, I know one thing that I had to learn was to come from curiosity.
Yeah.
And so I think it all ties in together. But yes, definitely it can be applied in many different ways. So another thing is that they're just trying to avoid a tragic ending. Again, coming from a curiosity, never assume people understand how your brand can change their lives. Tell them, right?
Yeah.
So when you're creating your brand, where to start? Some people just tend to be lost. Some people say, I'm not creative. I don't know. I'm not good at this. That does not matter. You can learn. A lot of us are learning based. I know we have education all the time. So you can definitely start right now. And the place to start is to define your mission, values, and your vision. So you know all about KW's mission, values, and vision, but what about yours in particular? And also another thing would be to find what the pain points are. So maybe what you can do is call your database, when you're doing your DT, shout out Steve Schleter. When you're looking for what your pain points are, call your sphere and say, hey, I remember this transaction we did. What were the biggest pain points that you had? Or you can ask them, or if somebody was hesitant and you actually converted them into a lead, you can ask, hey, what was your fear? Or maybe you already know that. Maybe that's something that you already take, but that is really, really important, because one, have you ever heard of Mythbusters? Somebody thinks of a myth and the Mythbusters come in and see if it's true or not.
Yeah.
And I know in designs, we have fear versus fact on some of those tax points. Have y'all seen that before?
Yep.
If not, we'll show you later. But
I'm here shaking my head as you're saying this, and then realizing we're not actually on screen. So.
Yeah, I'm totally doing the exact same thing.
It's all right. So just using that, you can have, that's content right there. You can say, hey, I can't qualify for a loan, and that's a fear versus a fact. You don't know until you do, blah, 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 right? So there's one thing. Another thing is to set up your KW design assets. This is going to help you decide what your fonts are. It is going to help you set your fonts, and it's going to help you set whatever pictures you use on a regular basis, as well as the colors that you're going to use. So obviously you need to use the KW red, and that is CE011F. And I always remember that because it's like CEO. So think like a CEO. So that's how I always remember that color.
I love that.
And then whenever you're making anything, just make sure that all of your links work, and go back and just proofread everything. Have a friend that's better at that than you, and have them proofread it if it's going to go out to your database, right? And be consistent. This is probably the biggest marketing rule. Kimber, you probably would agree with me, is that being consistent sets your brand. That's when people start to remember you. That's when people start to remember your content, is when you start using all the same font, when you use the same slogan, when there's an icon that you use all the time. People are going to remember that, and they're going to start relating that with you and correlating whatever that is to you. All right.
So I just want to add to this. So this is drilling down exactly why I think Jannel is the source for marketing information, because you're hitting the nail on the head with these things. Getting this, doing this, dialing it in, the fonts, the colors, the consistency, that is the first step to building on your brand, right? Because you're going to start getting into what you need to be sending, the story. And if it's like, well, this one had this logo and this one had this, like, it gets all over the place, and you're not doing yourself any favors of building on your brand. And it's something as small as the font will start to train people of, oh, I'm looking at Jannel's stuff, or I'm looking at Joe's stuff. So I love that.
Awesome. Thank you. So the first thing that I wanted to show you was exactly where to find that the brand assets in Command. Now, this is supposed to be hard to read, and that was just to prove a point. So I used white, the white color on this font behind a really light screen, just to show you how important it is to use the right colors. So yes, that's supposed to be hard to read, and that was just to prove a point. So you always want to use professional, easy to read fonts, and you want to use easy to read colors, and make sure that anybody can be able to see it, and as well as your logos and branding colors. So a lot of the times people make really cute logos or get a logo done, and then you can't read it when it's smaller. Make sure that your logo is able to be read when it's big and when it's small, and make sure you have the colors to put on a black background and a white background. So those are my main tips right there. So now I'm going to take you over.
Yeah, can I just add to that? Is sure. If you're having somebody design your logo, make sure they design a transparent version of that logo. So when you say on a white background and a black background, like, you don't just want white and black backgrounds on your logos. You actually want it to be transparent so that they can do that. And then I actually have a question for you, Jannel, and that is, if somebody doesn't know, like, should they just be picking 6 random colors, or should they, like, where can they go to get that palette? Do you have a recommendation for that?
Yes. So I do have the KW identity style and guidelines.
Okay.
And so I will definitely, that's the tools that I'm going to share with you guys. Okay. And I'll show you all about that.
Cool. Excellent.
So let's dive into Command. So first we're going to go into Command, and we are going to go into the little designs icon, which is kind of like it's a paintbrush. So you can click on that. Once you're here, you're going to click on create a design. It doesn't really matter which one you are going to click on at first, but I'm going to go ahead and go with social. And then I am going to, so I see templates, my designs, and assets right here, right? So I'm going to go ahead and click assets. All right. So here are the places that you can choose for your colors. And so you can just click on the plus button, and it allows you to drag around and maybe find the right color that you need. And if you are a little more specific and you know about hex color codes, which is just beyond the basic knowledge, you don't have to know this. I'm just going to throw that out there, but you can click on here and it'll allow you to put those colors in. So earlier when I was talking about the CE011F, this is where you can put it in there, and then you'll have that red color that you would need. And also in the identity and style guide that Joe brought up, that actually gives you those colors as well. So there they are. You want to make sure that any color that you pick goes well with red, because I have seen some people who have picked a color and it's a beautiful color, but then when they use it with the red, it kind of clashes. So I would definitely say that as far as a logo, but as far as a design, you can always change that up. And then you have your fonts. I like really easy to read and non-traditional fonts. I like the Babus font. It is probably my favorite because it's professional and it is easy to read. So that's what I kind of go towards, is like the Babas or the Oswald, those kinds of Glacial Indifference, those kinds of fonts are what are my favorite. But you can always click right here on web fonts, and it'll tell you all of the fonts, just in case you don't know what fonts you like. You can always go in here and you can see and you can play with them. League Spartan, that's a great one. You can click on it and you can click add, and then you'll see, you can see what they kind of look like once you toggle the button over.
And now you can also upload fonts, right? A little asterisk on that. Make sure you have permission to use an asset before you do. Realtors, you might not think that realtors get sued for that stuff, but there are companies that make a point of going after whoever they can. So definitely make sure you have a right to use something. Web fonts, always safe bet, because those are usually licensed for anybody to use.
Mm-hmm. All right. And then we also have a place to add your logos. And so this is a place where you would add your logos. I know in some of the designs, you have the DBA logo that you can swap out. This is a place to put in all of your logos. And if you need those logos, you can find them in KW Connect. And there's a resources marketing. There's going to be a page that has all kinds of tools for you. And I'll share the link with you later as well.
I know. Usually we have Mike Hillary drop that in, so I don't know if he might not be watching right now, because if he was, it would already be there in the chat.
Awesome. And then we also have a place for images. So here, these are kind of the two things that I'm going to show you how to do today. And so this is going to be this is just a business card, but I'm going to show you how to utilize it in different ways. And then a QR code. I'm going to show you how to make a QR code and customize it to yourself. So we're going to see those two things in a minute.
Cool.
And then you also have text right here. So let's say you have a slogan. This is not really my slogan. It's Kim Possible's slogan, but you can definitely use whatever you are, once you've defined your mission, your values and brand, and vision, values, mission. All of those three things and your brand, you're going to be able to come up with a slogan that fits you. And that's really important. This is not about anybody else. It is about your brand. You will get excited when it's your brand. You will be passionate when it's your brand. You'll be consistent and you'll be knowledgeable when it's your brand. So make sure just to stay on that. All right. And then there's elements, videos, and files as well that you can add on there. But these are the main things that I wanted to show you on the assets page. Cool. And so now I'm going to show you how to use a business card for leverage and command. So this would be in the, whenever you go into command and you click on print, it's going to take you to, it's going to take you here, and you're going to have, let me start over. You go into designs, create a design, and you click on print, continue. Now, once you're here, it's going to give you a whole bunch of options. The one that I'm going to want to go under is business basics. And here they're going to have some business cards that you can manipulate. So I really like this one just because it's really clean. And for the purpose that I'm going to show you how to use it, it's actually the best one, I think. But it's all about you. So there might be another one that you like. Maybe you don't want to add your picture. There's going to be all those kinds of things. But for the one that for what I'm going to show you how you can use it, I think a picture would be best to have on there. So I'm going to click on here, and this allows you to edit it. And so what I'm going to do is I am going to pop my picture on here. So you just click and then you swap out, and you can adjust that too. Let's say cut off my head. So I'm going to edit that. And then I am going to edit this, and I'm going to put in my name. And I am just going to pretend we went ahead and did the whole thing, okay? Again, I just want to show you that all of the stuff that we put in, the assets, is going to appear on here. So you're going to see the logos on here. You're going to see the text that you have on here. You're going to see the images on here, and everything that you need. From this point, can you click on download, and then you're going to click on PNG. So PNG and JPEG, people always ask what those are and what's the difference. It does tell you right there, PNG is going to be the higher quality, and JPEG is going to be a great quality still, but it's just going to be a lower quality. And then it'll also allow you to adjust right here. So I'm going to go ahead and download it. Now, not only can you pop this in when you are commenting on Facebook and you are saying, where can you find someone, and you have a link, there's going to be a lot of good resources for that as well. If you wanted to put in a link tree, I'll talk about that in a little bit as well. But let's say you download it. Now we have all of these things that we have the ability to use in designs, right? So I'm just going to go to a regular design, and I want to show you how you can use this. So if I have this design right here, or in my listing presentation, or in the branded magazine, what you can always do, let's say you don't have time, you have just a couple of things that you wanted to go ahead and adjust. Sorry about that. Okay, here. You can just pop it right in there. So how many people have actually thought of that? Something that you can reuse and edit on the fly like that.
I love the digital aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
There was a meme the other day that came out about printing paper and it being like the Oregon Trail. And I've never related to something more. So you speak this, and a business card turns digital, or it turns into like making any graphic that I'm creating better, and it's all staying outside of the printer. I'm game.
Yes. And I definitely agree with that too. So there's, that's why I really like QR codes, because we've all headed into that path. So right before COVID happened and everything, QR codes were barely used. They were becoming extinct, if I would say, in my opinion. But then when COVID came out, it was an easy way, without using, without having to touch everything. You touched your phone, you could scan it. So a lot of people are used to that now, and so might as well use it for your advantage. So I just want to show you another thing on the.
That just made me laugh. That made me laugh, Jannel, because I remember when I got in the business 10 years ago, realtors who had been in the business for a while were talking about QR codes, like, oh, these I've got to put my QR code. And I would roll my eyes at them at that point. Like move on, we're done with this. And now it's all back. I use it for everything, like in different capacities. Like there are definitely different ways to use it. But it made me laugh, because it definitely was on its way out, and then COVID brought it back.
Which is one of the things we can use for our advantage now. So it's awesome. But yes, I definitely had that same thought about QR codes as well. So even on your listing presentations, this here, when I get an agent to go ahead and start using that, they get a little overwhelmed, just because they're saying, oh, there's so many pages. How am I going to get to all of these pages? Okay, well, once you have that digital business card that you can use, you can just go into the pages right here. So let's say here is this part right here, and it has all of that. You can delete all of that and just pop in your digital business cards. And how much time did you just save just then? A lot. So, okay, so now the other thing that we're leading into anyways is the QR codes. So I wanted to show you this. So this is a QR code. Obviously, we were just talking about it. You can make any site into a QR code, and it is so easy. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So right now, I'm just going to go over to a website. So I'm going to say satx.kw.com. And I am going to let it go ahead and pull up, and then I'm going to just right click on it. So when I right click on it, it gives me the option to create a QR code for this page. And so you do have to be in Google Chrome, but what does everything work best with is Google Chrome. Command works best with Google Chrome, everything like that. You can also click the address bar, and it'll give you that same option to create a QR code. So once you've done that, once you right click and you click create a QR code, this little guy comes up. And so it's a QR code. It has the dinosaur right in the middle. It is cute, but we want to brand it to us, right? And so one thing that I wanted to point out is we know that dinosaur. We know that dinosaur from Google because they've stayed consistent. And we know that whenever you can't get into a site or something's wrong, you get that error page, and then you get that little dinosaur. Fun fact, if you push the space bar when you get that page, you actually can play a game. So that's pretty cool too. And then you can
just so you know, Kimber has strong opinions about that dinosaur.
Do you not like this dinosaur?
I'm just big about aesthetics. So I'm excited that you're going to show us how to do that City View logo in the middle, because we got to get rid of the dinosaur.
All right. So right here, you're going to click on download, and that's going to download it to your computer. And then we're going to go into designs again. So I'm going to click on home here. And it's going to be that same page that we accessed our assets from. So this is the home, and we are going to click on my designs right here.
And just so Noah Dupree said, no way you learn something new every day. I'm not sure if that's about the QR code or playing the game with the dinosaur, but I'm about it either way. So
awesome. So here you have the option. I just wanted to point out really quick, you have the option to import PDF files. So if you ever see something that you really like and you wanted to replicate and duplicate it, you can always import it here, and you can alter that as well. But the thing that I wanted to show you right now is if you click on start from blank, my go-to size is always going to be an Instagram post, just because it's fits everywhere. You can it will look best on Instagram. You can also share it to Facebook. Facebook owns Instagram, so of course they're going to make that work together. But a square is always going to be your safest. Right now, also the QR code is a square, so I'm going to go ahead and do Instagram, so I can get that square and I can edit it on there. So it's going to take me right to a blank page. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to upload that QR code that I just downloaded. So I'm going to click on images, and I am going to click on add. So images add, and then I'm going to click on this upload. I'm going to bring in that QR code. And so it's loading right here. And I'm going to stretch this a little further and just give it a moment to clear up.
He's just so cute. He's just so cute. I don't know why Kimber doesn't like him.
Probably because it seems like it's Google's brand instead of yours.
Right,
yes, I was just about to say it is inconsistent with my brand.
But he's wearing all black. It's 100% consistent with
which
your
is
brand.
50% of my brand for sure.
So I just put in a shape. I put in a square shape, and I filled it with white. And then I'm going to do the stroke color as white as well. So there it goes. It's gone. And it's still readable. And now I can put whatever I wanted on the top of it. So I can do my logo if I have a bug that's, and a bug is just kind of the shorter version of your logo. So like, you know how KW, it just has, instead of Keller Williams, it has the little bug that's KW, that's a bug on there. So what I'm going to do is I am going to just add an image from my assets. So I'm just going to go ahead and put my picture on there just to show y'all. Oop, not that.
Whoa.
And you can always do Control Z if you make mistakes, because there's always mistakes. So you can click on the little plus button and there we go. That's the correct size. And I'm going to go ahead and shrink that. I'm going to put that right in there. Make sure that I don't touch any of the dots, right? Because the dots are what's readable. And now you have your own QR code that's customized to you. It still works. It still gets you everywhere, but now you have shown your brand. So you can just click download. Again, I'm going to want to do PNG, and I am going to go ahead and do page 1, and I'm going to download that.
So I love that. I may suggest one-upping this a little bit, which is if you lock the square and the your photo in place, right? I can actually just replace the QR code every single time for a new QR code I want to do, and the middle is going to stay the same. So instead of having to recreate this every time, I just upload the new QR code and hit that little refresh button, and boom, it's something new every time.
Yeah.
Wait, where did that come from?
That came from me.
Oh my God, I want one of those.
Taking your job. Just kidding.
And so now, so I'll give you the details.
Spot, Jannel, and ask you a question.
Yeah.
I'm going to rapid fire. What are some ideas that I can use a QR code for, either in a market center leadership position or an agent business? Like, just give us some ideas, rapid fire.
All right. So if you have an open house and you have built a landing page for your open house, or if you just have gotten the exact link from your website, you can make a QR code so people can view it. So say if you have a couple of people at the same time, you can have them scan the QR code. And I'm not sure if you're familiar or if the audience is familiar, but do you know that it has the commute times on your web page when you search your address? So I can show you. So let's just say if you're here and you say San Antonio, Texas, and you have the properties that are about to pop up, you can click on any of these. And what it's going to do is it's going to give you a bunch of information on here. And I'll let that load. And so another thing that you can use it for is if you if you can make a digital business card in the same respect. So I just wanted to show you right here, commute times. So they can get the information while you're finishing helping another person. You can also use it a QR code for your information. So let's say you have a digital business card that, like the one we just made, they can scan that and they can go straight into that information. Anytime you make any kind of flyer, you can put it on, you can put the QR code on the flyer. Anytime you're doing advertising, let's say if you're going to do an event and you have, and you want someone to, or you want a place to get quick information, QR code. So I use QR codes all the time just because people always have their phone in their hands. So what are they going to do if they see a QR code? It's so easy now just to scan and go to that site. So those are just some things, but I've seen so many ways that people get creative on it. For my birthday, one of our leadership, Maritza, got me something that just said Jannel the Tech, and it had the QR code on there, and I put it outside my door. So when people wanted to get my information, they just scan it and they can set an appointment with me. They can see my information. I also have links that automatically download my contact card to their phones. Automatically goes to the Google review link to leave a Google review on our market center. So there's a lot of ways that you can use it. It's just thinking outside of the box. Or one thing that I always think of is how can I save someone time? So anytime I save someone time, that's going to be with a QR code. So for the same example, this QR code that I have on here actually is a Loom video that you can scan, and it will show you how to make a QR code, just in case you forget. So yeah. Does that kind of answer it, Kimber?
Yes, I just wanted to put you on the spot because I think there's a lot of creativity with this. And what's nice about it is that we used to have QR codes or we were trying to make fetch happen. And now it's like everyone knows how to use them.
Yeah.
So we can use these everywhere. And there's a few commenters that have not given StreamYard access. Scott Class is one of them. But he mentioned using it for a Google review when at a closing or a client event.
We will shame Scott Klaus.
Yes.
He did not give StreamYard permission, so he is Facebook user. Yeah. And I guess Marty is jealous because you gave me sound effects and you didn't give him sound effects. So I'm all about that. So anytime I can love Marty.
I'll give him some sound effects next time. Understanding. So content is easier when you get pain points and fear from your sphere, right? So my sphere may look different than Joe's sphere or than Kimber's sphere. When we want to know what their pain points are, what their fears are, those kinds of things. So get to know your database, and what more perfect time than when you're lead genning, right? And so another thing is, content's easier when you're knowledgeable about something. So I am always taking classes, courses. There's all these places that you can take free courses. Udemy, udemy.com has places where you can just purchase some classes, but they are not expensive. They're like about $15, and the content is amazing. And also we have all kinds of courses on KW Connect. So there is the KWU, under KW Connect. There's all these courses that you have access to as well on there. When you're passionate about something, it's going to show in your content as well. It's going to show because your voice and your dialect in your captions, or just as much as your videos, they're going to be able to see what you're actually passionate about, and they're going to get some kind of endorphin from watching you get excited from it, right? And then as well as when it's fresh and not mundane. So you want to, if you do have your content and you are consistent, that does not mean that it's mundane. What I mean by mundane is something like, let's say you start a new series. Like if you're going to start a new video series, or something that we do are themes. So every month we change the theme up. And so we kind of, so like, for example, this month was bold and boozy because we were playing on the Halloween theme, and we were actually, we actually did a huge bold launch here. So that was our theme for this month. And the month before we did playbooks. So we talked about playbooks and we kind of played on the football theme. You know, it's kind of just fun, and it gets people excited with what's going on around you. So leverage what's going on around you for content ideas. So then also understand how people react to your posts. Now, this is something that I've had conversations with people about. So sometimes when you have your own social media and it's you get a lot of views, you get a lot of clicks, a lot of likes because it's something about you, they know you. And then you turn around and it goes to your business, and it might not be as much reactions. It might not be as much clicks. So keep in mind, it does change. Do not take it personal. See how you can grow from that. And then also just check your analytics. See how you're doing. So I know in our command, when you launch a social ad, you can go back and see how many clicks you've gotten, and those kinds of things. And so that's really helpful to see how you're doing on those things. Also, A test and B test. Let's say you wanted to see how people reacted to some kind of content. You can run it two ways. So you can run it in two different areas. You can run a different background. You can run one series, another series, just different kinds of things just to compare them and see what actually works for you and your sphere. Right. And then just ask for feedback. It never hurts. People, you're being transparent on what you're doing. And so when you ask, hey, what did you think about this? And just tell them to be honest, because sometimes they're going to spare your feelings. Right. So just say, be honest. What would you do? Did you like this, or did you click this, or what would make you click this, or what would have made you react to this? And just be honest and just ask them, and they'll tell you. Because they want to see you grow. They want to be a part of your success story, and you're making them part of your success story, right? All right. So now content ideas. So one thing that we talked about was the fear versus fact. So when you get your sphere feedback, you can say, hey, what was your biggest fear when you were starting the transaction? And you can get that as a content. You can just say fear versus fact, right? Guides that will help you look like the expert. So if you make some guides that are going to show them, oh, you know what, our app has guides, right? So let them know that that's there. It says there's a buyer and a seller guide in there. And then in our designs, we actually have some buyer and seller guides in there as well that you can look at, or in the listing presentations, right? That was another thing that I wanted to share with you in these listing presentations. Here, I still have it up. There is content that you can share as you can just shrink it. You can move this information, copy this information, and put it on a social size, so like an Instagram size. And so that gives you a lot of leverage right there, because they've already come up with the content. Right. Another good resource for content is those magazines. So have you all seen the personal branded zines?
They're awesome, and they're consistently going out every quarter.
We love them.
I love. One thing I just want to touch on that you were just getting into, multi-use is one of my rules. So if it's you or if it's your assistant, if they are spending time creating content, it has to be able to go in more than one platform and more than one use. And so Jannel just hit on that. Okay, you've spent time, you made this awesome graphic for your listing presentation. Where are you going to drive that on social? Not are you going to drive that on social? Would be my rule. So
that's
I'm glad
awesome.
you mentioned that. No,
that is really, really awesome, because you're saving time right there. And so that's probably your pain point, is time's your pain point, and that's why it's important to you. So when I would be marketing to Kimber, I would be like, hey, this would save you time, or this is a multi-use, right? So here we have, I just wanted to kind of show you what they have in here. Buyer and seller facts. So you have all of this information that you can reuse for social media. And it's already there for you. So it's awesome. And one thing that you can do as well is so you see how they have paragraphs. Obviously, this is not something that you would want to put on social media because it's so tiny they can't read it, right? They would have to zoom in. But what you can do is you can grab, let's say you're going to do an Instagram or a Facebook story. You can make one of those just one question, and you could say, what should I look for during my home search? And the next story the next story could be a video of you explaining that. So there's another content idea. You can utilize that. Or if you can make a YouTube video and you can say, that would be the question, and then you answer it in your video. So those are a couple of things.
That's so fun. When I teach smart plans, I'm going to use this now because I think it's brilliant. I always teach people to just, if you don't know what to do content wise, do 8 emails for your 8x8 of you kind of talking about something in real estate that you can send out to people. And they inevitably say, well, what should those videos be about? And right here, you got it. That's my new thing. So I appreciate that. You made my life easier today.
Yes. Awesome. And here are some free tools. So I wanted to tell you all about these things because they are actually really beneficial. So one of the things is Pexels and Unsplash. These are copyright. These are pictures that are not copyrighted. So you can go in there, and really they're photographers who are trying to make their name out there. So you can donate to them if you'd like, but you can go and use all of those pictures on your content. So those are great. Also, Insight Designs, I'm not sure if you saw it, but there is a place where you can add pictures. Where they have pictures for you to use. So if you click on Workspace, they're going to have all of these pictures that are already licensed for you to use. So that's one of the things. Leverage a logo. So I always love Fiverr. Fiverr is kind of, how do I explain it? There are all kinds of different vendors who are on there trying to help you out. So you can pay someone anywhere from like $15 to $200 for a logo, and they will make it for you. It started being called Fiverr. That's how they got their name, because they would just say, I'll give you $5 to make this for me. So it's a great tool. I would say be careful with this because they are not aware of our guidelines, right? So I would just make sure to be very careful with that. You can mention it to a lot of them, as well as you can have them, you can send it to them and have them work with that too. All right. The next one is Linktree. Linktree is great. It is a kind of like a one pager that will have all of your social media links. You can put your website, you can put any kind of links on there. Why I say to use Linktree rather than your website is because quick links hurt your SEO, sorry. They hurt your SEO. So let's say if you had all of your social media links on your KW website, Google would read that as you don't have great enough content for someone to stay on for more than 2 minutes. So it ends up hurting you. So if you had a Linktree, well, they're the ones taking the hit. Linktree is not your individual website. So that's why I say you use something like that instead.
I'm just gonna, for the leadership that's listening, Linktree was my compromise. Remember I told you about the meme with the Oregon Trail?
Right.
So my market center is like, we got to do a printed calendar. And I am like, we're not doing a printed calendar. Like, it's just not happening. And so the compromise was the Linktree. And it's cool because we have everything going on in our office, and the printed material that is in all their packets to meet with agents that aren't with us or our agents that are with us is the QR code that goes to Linktree. So if anyone else is interested in that thought process of no paper, there's your compromise to give to your TLs.
And I know that. We may just a little heads up. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt. I did forewarn that I would be rude like this at this point because I don't have the same tact that Evan does. But we do have about 10 minutes left. So I'm going to let you finish explaining this. But for everybody who is watching, please put your questions in the chat. If there's anything that Jannel said that came up during this that you want her to dig a little deeper in, or if you just want to add some, try to add some value to that, we're all about that here at Keller Williams. So put that in the chat. We will highlight you. But yeah, sorry to interrupt. Keep going.
You're all right. So there's just a few more tools. There's the identity style and then the KW Connect marketing page. 2 books that I recommend are Building a Story Brand and 1 Million Followers by Brendan Kane. And then I did have a quiz, and it just said, what do people tend to lean more to? Avoiding pain or seeking pleasure? I started off with that. Can one of y'all answer that for me?
And for those of you who are taking bold, you should know the answer to this too, right? Because this is a big bold thing. Somebody want to put it in? Well, there's a little delay if they're going to put it in the chat.
That's okay. I'll pretend one of y'all got it. And it's avoiding pain. So yay on y'all. And then I have just two more things. The free Halloween sources. So I said, if you come to this class, you get some Halloween sources that you can share with your clients. And that's going to be this link or this QR code that will take you to here. And there's charades, a coloring book, recipes and video links, like the 2021 Netflix movies that are kid friendly, a scavenger hunt, bingo, those kinds of things that you can share with your sphere. And then if you want to visit this again, you can either go to this link or that QR code, and I will share it with you guys on the, I guess whenever it wraps up, I'll put it in the comments. So there we go. And I am through.
I love that you had Agatha in there.
Yeah. I'm surprised you know exactly where that's from.
Oh, if you knew how much I love Marvel, you would not be surprised.
And she's even got Childish Gambino right here, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Girl.
All right.
So a big takeaway, and people are going to be sending in some questions, but you just made, for me, designs more desirable to use, right? I knew my cool real estate templates were there, and I'll probably go in there when I need to. Now that I've, watched some of the things you use this for, I'm going to really utilize assets more. It's easy to manipulate things. There's such great designs in Command already that I can have multi-use. Like, I am probably going to be using designs more now than I was before, just from these little tips. And I'm sure other people feel the same. And Joe's probably going to highlight this comment, but Noah Dupree says, I want to be like Jannel when I grow up.
I can throw that up there.
I agree.
I don't know. I would highlight, somebody did ask you to throw back up the QR code, but they didn't give StreamYard permission. So I don't know who said that. So they don't get credit. And we're not going to give them credit, but please throw up the Halloween, not this one, the other one. Throw that one up. There we go. And they don't get credit. Kimber, if you see who it is, they don't get credit.
Okay.
They just don't. They don't. We don't know. Whoever put that up there. No. And I say that if it's somebody who is a friend of the show or somebody who knows that we jokingly are harassing them, great. If it's somebody who is new to the show and doesn't understand that we do that, we are so sorry. Please come back. We are not trying to insult you. So, cool. I just had to backtrack a little bit. I gave somebody a hard time last week or the week before, and they were like so upset. And I was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. No, that's just what we do on here." So
no, calm down. Just kidding.
Cool.
Jannel, any last takeaway things, just in regards to marketing, in regards to how we can use Command for this? You do this at such a high level for your market center. And I think you've also gone through really good key points that us as agents can use in our business too. So I've loved it all. But any last thoughts on that?
Let's say if you aren't exactly a designer, you could always go into any of the templates that are in KW Command Designs, and you can take off the words, you can take off anything, and you can adjust those. Just because they're a template doesn't mean you have to use it for what it was made for. So you can use that as a style guide, something as an example, and you can see what colors go well together. You can see what they have used and use that as an examples, because you know that is already really nice, really clear, really pretty, and they have gotten a lot of feedback from that. So use that as your starting point if need be.
Cool. I love
Don't
that.
be afraid to think outside the box.
What's
I
your
love that.
ghost name again?
Do what?
Your ghost?
Oh, his name's Boozy.
Boozy. I just love it.
Jeez. Cool.
I'm going to be sad when October is over. I bet your agents are as well.
Aw. We'll just have to come up with something for November.
Right?
November. Awesome. Well, if we don't have any questions, and we are just about at time, so I almost forgot to be a good host and end it. I was just going to sit here, but we do have Noah coming in with the final comment. Lil Boozy. Apparently, people like that because Lil Boozy is getting a lot of love here. So, and also Brett said, especially if you're going to give access. So Brett was one of the people I harassed last time. So he is making it known that he did not make that mistake again this week. So thank you so much, Jannel, for being here. Remind everybody where you are from, what you do, so that they know if they need to get in touch with you. Can they? Like, what's going on?
Yes, they definitely can. I am from San Antonio City View, Director of Innovation and Technology, all things tech, and always happy to see you grow with me.
We love that. And of course, Kimber in Utah, and just keeping it real. She doesn't like the dinosaur, though.
Friend of the show. And now I don't have to worry about the dinosaur. Jannel
No.
solved your problem. Check.
No, there you go. And of course, I'm Joe McHugh, and I'm so happy to have hosted another one of these with the lovely Kimber. And thank you, Jannel, so much for joining us. And thanks, everybody. We will be back next week. Kimber, do you know what we are doing next week?
Yeah, so it's actually me and Saeed Samini, and we are doing SOI and lead gen digital style.
Cool. I love that.
So,
I love that.
tuning.
All right, awesome. Well, Brett Bishop, we're going to let him have the final word. Great job, everybody. Just to stroke our egos, because we're realtors and we love that. So on that note, thanks everybody for being here. If you missed the QR code, remember this recording is live, so it will circle back. You can watch it again to get that, as well as all of the great material Jannel shared with us today. So see you, everybody.
Thank you so much.